Hello, can you hear me? Yes, I think you can. That is great. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the future of sightseeing. Now, that is something that I've been working on for the last. I've always been working on the future, and for the last 20 years, that's meant a whole variety of different changes. We've gone through software as a service, and now we're talking about AI. And this, I have to say, means that everything you think you know about sightseeing technology is about to change as a result of AI. Everything. So today we have itineraries. For example, this is from Autoura, nice partner of this conference, thank you. Isle of Wight in the UK, near where I live. Classical itinerary, exactly what you'd expect to find on a retail website. However, that is not how consumers will shop in the future. Instead, consumers will fire up their AI, or their consumers' AI agent will be used, and the itineraries will be designed ad hoc. Now, there's already some evidence that this is happening. In the UK, sort of 20% of young UK adults are now using ChatGPT, DeepSeek, various others in this way to design their own itineraries. And that is all we need as entrepreneurs to see that this latent behavior is likely to become the dominant behavior going forwards. It's not completely locked in that that's the case, but there's a good chance, and good chances is all entrepreneurs need. But if you change where the itinerary is designed, if it is no longer curated by the supplier and it is now designed by the customer, this changes everything. We now go from a supplier having 10 itineraries that they have to operate to 1,000 or even infinite possibilities. That's a lot. So how on earth are we going to operate these experiences? Let's assume the design problem is solved, but how are we going to operate them? So luckily, there's two new technologies that are coming along. Now, in the chat, I want you to be a bit interactive here. Who wears glasses? Anyone wear glasses? So in the UK, 65% of adults wear glasses, and another 5 to 10% wear contact lenses. If you just look at the small camera a second, can you see my old phone here? This is it's called a Sony Ericsson from like 20 years ago. It's like teeny. It's pretty cool. And this is my modern iPhone. This old phone from 20 years ago can't do very much. I mean, it could make phone calls and it could send the odd message and it could take very, very bad photos. But we all accepted that all phones became smartphones. And by 2030, all regular glasses will become AI glasses. If you change how people see, you change how people sightsee. Okay, so the third big innovation that's coming down the tracks is autonomous vehicles. Now, I've been talking about autonomous vehicles for it seems like forever. I first started keynoting at conferences about their impact in 2018, so that seems like a long time ago. But there are two groups that are really interesting to keep an eye on. One is what Lyft is doing with an organization called Tensor Auto, and they're making every privately owned car autonomous. And the reason why that's important is because if you have privately owned cars, that means that hotels can own those cars. That means that tour operators can own those cars. And that means that you as a consumer can go on an 8-hour experience driving out to 2 vineyards rather than a 20-minute autonomous vehicle experience like you see today with companies like Waymo in San Francisco and others, where you stay in the vehicle for 20 minutes max. So that's going to be fundamental. Already Zoox, which is Amazon, has started operating experiences, tourism experiences in Las Vegas using their autonomous vehicles. Today, they announced a relationship with Sphere, which is the big kind of screen thing. So that's pretty cool. So these experiences are coming. They're not just coming. That if you go to these places and you can just use them, and they are publicly available now. Uber, literally 10 minutes ago, just before this, I started talking here, Uber just announced their big announcement, and they've just said that they're going to have 100,000 robo-taxis on the road by 2027. So if you've been thinking, oh, when's the right time to take autonomous vehicles seriously, it's now. Fundamentally, they enable personalized experiences to be operated, because no longer are we forcing 50 people in the big bus to have the same experience. We can have 4, 5, 6 people in one vehicle, and it's a family or a couple, and they are taking an experience that has been designed by AI. So think about those 3 innovations together. Using AI to design an itinerary, the ability to operate an experience using an AI tour guide in your AI glasses, which 65% of people will have on day one. And thirdly, the impact of autonomous vehicles at scale. That is why the sightseeing funnel flips, and all of the technology that you've seen today is not today, as in these presentations at this AI conference, but all the technology that's out there available for tour operators is the wrong technology, because it starts with the itinerary coming from the supplier. And what we need is the itinerary coming from the consumer. So watch out for that. So this is meant to be demo day. I want to do a demo. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to slightly talk about one of the things that we've been doing in Stonehenge. So we can operate sequential tours now at Stonehenge, and customers are paying $1,000 for a small group to use our AI tour guides in there and to walk around Stonehenge. That is a lot of money, by the way. This is not a $10 audio tour. Well, that's not the business that we're operating, is not that, because I don't see a future in $10 audio tours, because consumers will just fire up advanced voice mode in their ChatGPT, and that would be absolutely fine. So we've gone to the high-end private market, and the tour operators who are using our technology are using it not because it's AI, just because it solves actual problems. So we can now operate tours in Japanese just as easily as we can operate tours in English. We can operate tours using taxi drivers and chauffeurs rather than driver guides. Now, if you're in the tour operating business, that is a significant leap. So we can do that today. That's great. And this summer we were in the Fever Future Tech Prize. If you'd heard about that, they've been running an innovation. Fever, who's one of the biggest European OTAs and experiences. I think they've taken about $500 million of funding. So catching up with Get Your Guide. We were in their competition. Anyway, we won. So that was kind of cool for this technology. So I'm quite excited about that. Partnered with Bespoke England Tours, who are the local sort of tour operator that's there. So here's a QR code. Now get your camera out, take a quick picture of it, because I do want you to do this at home. We don't have enough time to do a demo today. And if you're watching the recording, it's even easier. But if you just scan that QR code, you can immediately chat with Dr. Claire Hart, who's our AI archaeologist. We have 65 characters now who deliver tours and deliver hospitality experiences. So that's a lot of characters. Anyway, if you scan that code, take a picture of it, somehow scan it, you can check that out later. So what advice do I have, considering that I've just said that everything, apart from all the AI presentations we've seen today, but everything else is all going to be obsolete? So here's my advice. So short itineraries, if you're a tour operator, short itineraries. So rather than 7-8 hour long itineraries, they need to be moments. They need to be 1 hour long, 2 hours long, because AI will then put those moments into a day. So that's how you should think about it. You should think about tours in the first person, or moments in the first person rather than the third person. So here is how I make the wine is first person. That's the future. Here is how the winemaker makes the wine. AI will do that. So you really need to be focused down on just first person experiences. And thirdly, because of autonomous vehicles, do not finance large buses over 15 years if your market is about to be hit by 100,000 robo-taxis from Uber. Okay, so what should you do for an OTA or a retailer? Don't delist digital experiences. Everyone who's in this digital market knows exactly which OTA I'm talking about. Don't delist them. You are throwing the baby out with the bathwater. If I had to set a rule, which was how I would like to see it, I would say keep digital experiences that have got human connection in. If they don't have any human connection in, i.e. they're just audio tours, fine, bin them. But if they've got some element of human connection, that's what I would call a hybrid experience, and OTAs should be listing those. And secondly, OTAs and retailers should be getting on board with some of the changes that are happening with decentralized identity. So I'm one of the core contributors to the Hospitality and Travel Working Group, and we've got a standard called Hat Pro, which shares travel preferences between retailers, suppliers, etc. So if you learn that someone's vegetarian, then you can neatly share that from the hotel to the restaurant without causing yourself any regulatory issues. ResTech have got a problem. I've got no good ideas for what ResTech should do, even though I'm a ResTech entrepreneur, because they have to choose a side, because neither the tour operators nor the retailers are going to move at the same time in the same way, and they're stuck in the middle with no particular path forward. But we have an opportunity here. And the big opportunity is that platforms will start operating tours. And that is either both an amazing idea or a completely scary idea. And I'll give you an example of that. If you go to dex.headout.com, Headout is a reasonably large, anyone from Headout here? Just say, put your hand up in the chat if you are. If you go to dex.headout.com, you can see what it looks like with a retailer now operating experiences. And I think DEX stands for digital experiences, but I could well be wrong. They've not quite announced it yet, so I hope I'm not pre-announcing it. But it's been live for like a week or two, so it's about time someone announced it. So go and check that out, because that's what it looks like with a retailer operating experiences. And another example is Uber Safari. In Southern Africa, it's not just Uber, renting time in a car like with a ride hail, but you can now go on a tour, on an experience in an Uber brand. This is the future of platforms operating tours. Right. What could you do next? Okay, lots of things you can do. So go to the, if you want to learn more about decentralized identity, go to htwg.identity.foundation and put yourself onto that newsletter and read the standard about how we share. If there's at the very top of the screen, there's a button that says introduction. Tap on that and you can read a lot about how sharing preferences between restaurants and travel agents and hotels is going to solve a whole bunch of problems for AI agents. That'd be amazing. Secondly, go to Cyber Guide, which is a multi-author blog that I edit. And that's all about digital experiences and how we operate digital experiences. And thirdly, my website, Autoura, that's my company. We've got a pretty funky newsletter, which is you can sign up to at the bottom of the page, or we've got a paper which goes into this whole problem in much more detail. And if you just Google AI and the end of the traditional fixed itinerary tour, you will find it. It's a PDF on that website. And that's it. So thank you very much. And thanks, Dan, for giving me some time to talk about my favorite topic, which is how everything is about to change. Thank you.